I did that as a drill instructor, teaching them like the most basic stuff as a Marine. And now I do that with development all day long with homeowners. So it's like very complicated topics. I love breaking it down to as simple of a concept as I can for people to make it actionable. And that's actually like, that's where I'm trying to go with like me. I'm like, I feel like that's one of my superpowers. They have essentially like will sleep deprive you. They will not, really give you sufficient time to eat, make you hungry, tired and all these things, and forces you to then essentially take it out on the recruits. That's the goal of it. And we started like reading it and we started realizing we're like, wait, hold on. And we started like going down these rabbit holes and we're like, wait, if we do this and we add it here and we like do these things, like all of a sudden we were able to add 8 units to this property.
Interesting.
And it literally like, it blew my mind. Wow. I was like, we literally just by me sitting down on a couch reading a couple of pages of code.
It's awesome.
All of a sudden I just doubled my unit count.
Hi guys, welcome back to The Alchemists with Evan Rundle. Today I have a very special guest, a friend. He's the head of development at ADU Geeks. He's a real estate developer, an expert in small urban infill development, underwriting, feasibility. He's a musician. He's a Marine Corps veteran, an all-around great guy. Brian Koons, how you doing today?
Dude, I appreciate you having me. I am fantastic with these views we have, dude. It's great.
And how long have you been in San Diego?
I've been here almost 6 years in March, so it's been a minute now. Actually, it's kind of wild.
6 years.
Yeah.
So pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID, yeah. I came here in 2019.
Okay.
Got a little bit of time as a drill instructor, and then started the wildness. So I never really got to experience real San Diego until like 2022, 23.
Right, like when it came back.
Exactly.
Didn't start off great.
Yeah. No, yeah. It was weird. It was wild.
Were you like on lockdown living here?
I was a drill instructor at the time in the Marine Corps, and so we were in almost like our own little bubble right when it started, because our cycle, which is like when drill instructors start, training recruits for 3 months, started in February. And so we were like a month into it, and you can't just stop. And you're with them like all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we never really saw like kind of what happened at the beginning. We were just like, oh, like there's some wild thing happening. And I remember the first time that I went out in town after lockdown, and it was the craziest thing. I was like, it's a zombie land out here.
Yeah.
It was wild.
And where had you come from?
So I was in North Carolina for my first enlistment, and Virginia for a little bit, and then I grew up in Ohio.
Okay.
So.
Well, and I don't think we can get started too much without addressing the outfit in the room. So by total coincidence, we both got the overshirt. We got the necklace with whatever this bad boy is. We got the white shoes. We got the dark pants. Got the bracelets. Man, great minds think alike.
I read the email.
So if you're next on the show, this is what you got to wear.
This is the outfit.
If you're not coming in. And we'll stop you from coming in with the giant whiteboard that we have.
Giant whiteboard.
You're not getting around that whiteboard. They don't teach you that in the Marine Corps. Nope. You're not planning for that. So cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on. Super stoked to have you. You're someone that I met pretty recently, about a couple years ago. Yeah. And we had our first meeting here in the little conference room. And you taught me all about ADUs and zoning and all these cool things. And since then, pretty much every event I go to, every networking meetup, you're there. And also the topic of conversation tends to lead to ADUs. So I'm really excited to get into that today. I do want to ask you a little bit more about kind of your background and your personal life, but then we'll dive right into real estate and best practices and go from there.
Dude, I'm open. Let me know.
Awesome. So just going back a little bit, before the Marine Corps, what were you doing?
Yeah, so I joined right out of high school. So I was, I had no like thing that I really wanted to do, going out of school. And my brother had joined the Navy like 2 years before me. So I had been looking at that, and because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, I was like, I don't want to just go to school for this one thing that is going to be like the thing that apparently my entire personality revolves around the rest of my life, with no knowledge of what the real world is like. So figured may as well join the military. I didn't know if I wanted to do 20 or 1 enlistment. Like, I didn't know. But I figured, set yourself up, get college paid for. I knew I was in band when I was in high school, and I went in. I knew I wanted to join regardless, but I also like walked in and I was like, hey, like I also feel like I'm fairly decent at playing tuba, which was my instrument. So I want to do that too. And in hindsight, like the amount of people that are physically fit enough, physically or mentally psychotic enough to want to join the Marine Corps, and then also like good enough to play the instrument for it and pass the auditions is very like few that I've
Okay.
learned. So it was very like they were very excited that I showed up in the office. And yeah, I had enlisted before I actually passed the audition, so I kind of joined with like open contract, which is like the stupidest thing you can do as a human. But ended up getting the band, did that for my first enlistment, and then yeah, came over here. I almost got out after my first enlistment to go to school for exercise science because I
Mm,
had been going while I was in, but wanted to get out, be a personal trainer. Realized that they don't exactly make all of the money in the world unless you're
right.
like top tier.
Sure.
So I reenlisted, came over here to be a drill instructor in 2019. Did another like 3.5 years over here, and then got out in 2022.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, let's back up a step. So tuba,
Yes.
how and why?
So my brother played a saxophone,
Okay.
and he moved to trumpet, which left a saxophone sitting at our house.
Okay.
And my parents were like, "You're gonna play saxophone if you want to play an instrument." So I played saxophone, hated it,
Mm,
and in like seventh grade, I switched over to tuba.
mm,
It was like you got to try different instruments,
yeah.
and for some reason, I chose tuba. I don't know why. I was the smallest child in the room, and picked the largest instrument. And to this
Yeah.
day, like I literally remember walking into the recruiter's office, and he's like, you play tuba? Like you're not some giant fat kid with zits. Like why?
Mm.
Like, and so it just from there it was this thing that was kind of funny, but yeah, I enjoyed it. And I ended up being relatively better than I'd say the majority of the population on it, and then put in a good amount of effort to get better at it, and was able to join.
Do you still play?
I don't anymore.
Okay.
So it's a very like unique. The Marine Corps band is you kind of like lose you can lose your passion for it because you play the same music over and
Right.
over and over again. It's
Right.
all marches and ceremonies and things like
Oh
that, and
yeah.
parades.
Yeah.
And I, at the same time, kind of fell out of the passion of it while also falling into the passion of the called the green side of the Marine Corps, which is
Mhm.
like the fitness and things like that.
Sure.
So that's where I really found my passion, was like fitness and nutrition
Nice.
and education of that, training people, things like that,
Okay.
and kind of fell away from the band side as much. And then yeah, just when you're a drill instructor, like you don't have time to to
Yeah.
practice.
Oh yeah.
So
And I get it. I don't know if you know, like
mhm,
previous life of mine,
yeah,
pro musician, and that was my identity for a long time. But same problem where when it becomes the job,
mm,
it's very hard to keep the passion, especially if it's not doing something that fulfills you. And I fell into that trap of like making commercial pop music that I
mm,
didn't necessarily love.
yeah,
And like I loved the craft of writing song, and I loved the craft of, the studio and getting the shows, connecting with the audience. I loved everything other than like the actual music itself. And that's like a recipe for disaster.
yeah,
And I have found later in life that now when I play, I always like, it's kind of cheesy, but I say it's like my vacation, not my vocation. And I do it just basically as like the meditative kind of spiritual outlet versus like, okay, this is the thing that I'm gonna like succeed in and be known for
yeah.
and
That your
my whole
total success
livelihood.
is
Yeah, like that's just the pressure of that. And there's some people that do it and like hats off to them. Like that's amazing. I just didn't find that niche where
mm,
I felt like lit up and loved it and then also be able to like make a lot of money with it,
right.
which is probably why I got into real estate and probably why you got into real estate. So we're gonna go that route too in a
Exactly.
moment. So okay, so then tying that together, now you are a drill instructor, sergeant,
Correct. Drill instructor.
drill instructor
Yep.
here in San
Yep.
Diego. And how long had you been in the Marine Corps at that time?
I was in for like 5 years, so I joined in 2014.
Okay.
Came over
Thank
here
you
in
for your service, by the
2019.
way.
Thank you. Appreciate the support. But joined in 2014. Came over here in 2019, and then was a drill instructor all the way to 2022.
Got it.
And that's when I transitioned out to where I work now, which is ADU Geeks.
Got
So
it. Okay. And let's talk about that. So, when was the first time you had really like heard of real estate as something that you thought you could do? Because
mm,
up to that point, had you had any experience in real estate at all?
no, so I well, ADU Geeks, yes. But to kind of tell you the story, so when I came over here at drill instructor school, which is like the first school that you go to,
Mm-hmm.
they had somebody come and talk to us about like the VA loan,
Mm-hmm.
and he was savvy enough to understand like investing, and he invested himself. And so what he told us, it was like how to make $100,000 in 3 years was kind of like how he tied it down. But or how he explained it, but it was basically using your VA loan, living in a unit, renting out the others, getting debt pay down, and then appreciation all at the same time. And that was it was a minute blurb and like an hour long thing. But
Yeah.
like for me, I was like, wait, that makes a lot of sense. And I
So
like
let's
thought
break
there's
that down because
yeah.
there's a lot of people, and maybe there's vets out there, maybe there's people that aren't but know. And that what you just said in that one sentence, let's kind of just granular that for a second. So walk us through the like literally the nuts and bolts of that.
Yeah, so it's the term is house hacking, where you use an owner-occupied loan, which generally tends to have a lower down payment
Hmm.
associated with it.
Is this
So
like
you
an
can
FHA or
FHA,
okay,
conventional 5% or 3%,
got it.
VA, which is
Yeah,
0. Any of them that allow you that require owner occupancy is generally what it kind of the give and take is.
yeah.
So you have to have intent to occupy the property within 60 days for a year is pretty much how it works, and that allows
To
you to get
occupy it within 60
within
days
60
for
days
a year.
for a year.
Got it. So you have
Exactly.
to move in within 60,
Yeah,
stay
is
there
the
for
intent.
12 months. Okay.
Exactly. So you move in, and then whatever space you aren't actively living in, you rent
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
And so that can be extra rooms if you buy a single family. That can be
Yeah.
other units, whatever it is. It could be an
Yeah.
ADU, like
Right.
whatever it is.
Which I did with Airbnb, which I'll tell
Exactly.
you a little bit about later.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
Um,
when you got a stranger in the bedroom down the hallway,
yep, you're
and you guys
living
are
in
like
the.
sharing a kitchen, and
Yep,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Did
exactly.
you do that?
So I bought a 4 unit
Okay,
over
smart.
on 19th Street,
Okay.
and I had 3 bedrooms. I rented out the other 2 bedrooms.
And is 4 the cutoff before?
It's
Okay,
exactly so 1 to 4 is residential, so you
got
can
it.
use any of those owner-occupied loans to buy up to 4 units.
Yeah.
And that was what allowed me to get in. It was like it was during COVID, so
Hmm.
interest rates were super low.
I remember.
This I had no idea what debt to income ratio was. I
Right.
just happened to like have no debt and like
Right.
have a decent amount of savings, and that's what kind of I would just the deals like I would underwrite it and like whatever deals worked, I would send to my lender and he'd be like, "Yep, you're pre-approved." I didn't even think about like any of the issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it was mainly because like interest rates were so low,
Right.
and because you can use 75% of the rental income of the units you aren't living in
Amazing.
to add to your income. So all these things kind of like play together.
When they underwrite that, is it the potential of the income, or does it have to be the income that's already there on those other units or other rooms?
So it generally tends to be like I don't know the exact nuance, and I think lenders are different. But
Hmm.
if you have tenants in them,
Okay.
you I think the way that they did it was because I had tenants in 2 of the units.
Hmm.
So I think that they had took that and then they had a rental appraisal done
Okay.
on that. And I think they take the lower of the two was how they
Okay.
did it, and then they take 75%. So I think it was like 1800. It was rented at like 1975, but they did it at like 1800, and then 75% I think was like 1350. And so they added 1350, but for all 3 units to my income.
And is that rental appraisal done on long term?
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
couldn't be like, hey guys, I'm gonna house hack this and I'm gonna rent out every bedroom on Airbnb and here are the comps for that Airbnb.
no,
They're not gonna
no,
mess with
they're
that.
not that savvy.
Does it violate the lease to do that?
It
Excuse me, not the
doesn't.
lease, the loan?
No, it doesn't
Okay.
violate the loan.
So as
It's just
long as
more
you're cash
advantageous.
flowing it,
Yeah,
they don't care how you're getting them in there.
yeah,
So you could do midterm, you could do student housing, it doesn't really matter.
yeah. Like I said, they'll
Okay.
just do a long-term rental appraisal. Is I
Got
think
it.
how it's done. This is like at the very
That's okay.
beginning,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
I'm
like I'm
learning from
pretty
you
sure
in this
that's what
moment
they did.
too.
Is they did
Okay.
the rental market analysis, and then
Yeah.
whichever is lower. So it's like yeah, maybe you get like 2500 on medium term, but if they're like no long term would be 18, like that's the one they're going to go off
Got
because
it.
lenders are conservative.
And are you able to then improve those other units or properties to get a higher rental rate? And like, do they give you a grace period for that?
You could. It wouldn't. I don't think it would make sense because you're like
Okay.
actively in escrow when they do this because
Right.
they add it to your income.
Right.
So I would imagine that it would be just something where you uh take where it's at. I
Hmm.
mean, if you're using an owner occupied loan, it's just whatever the rents would be, and then you can always go back and probably get it reappraised potentially.
Right.
But if you qualified for it, because that's really the question is like,
Yeah.
do you qualify? Whereas like if you bought it, you already qualified, so you don't need to
Right.
re-qualify.
Is that a good move though? Like, would you recommend if someone was doing this and they had, I don't know, a couple hundred grand extra beyond what they invested, and they said, okay, now I'm going to improve this property to then get another refinance or cash out refi or something? Is that a good strategy, or is it just, hey, take what you got for the first year? Like, kind of walk us through that, the strategy behind it.
Yeah, I think it depends. So for mine, it was actually like very recently renovated.
Hmm.
So I bought it basically turnkey.
Nice.
And I think that something like that for me, it was nice to have put no money down,
Mhm.
have very little issues with it. There were issues for sure, whole
Mhm.
stories, but in general, like I haven't poured a ton of money into it, and it just kind of sits there.
Yeah.
And especially with the interest rate that I have on it, like debt
Right.
pay down is super high every single month.
Right.
Where the kind of the intention behind it is like you are using a low down payment,
Yeah.
so it allows you to get into a property and kind of you know leverage this system
Yeah.
to build up a portfolio or to get into real estate, get the learning lessons, things like that. And
Yeah.
yes, you could for sure do some renovations on it. I don't think that I would recommend generally somebody kind of diving into like this whole gut renovation
Yeah. Yeah.
on
Yeah.
something they're living in while
Yeah.
they're
Right.
new
Right.
at
Right.
it. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think generally like it's something where if you can add value, I would highly recommend that. I think that's where I regret is not having any additional value add.
Mm.
And so having some ability to either renovate units, if the market rent is a little bit, or if the rents are a little bit lower, knowing that on turnover, you can, refloor, repaint, things like that,
Mhm.
improve the value, improve the facade, like
Mhm.
all that stuff. And, if you can be in it for, 5, 10 grand per unit, I think that,
Mhm.
that would be very, very valuable to people. And it's not too hard to do on the first one. I think it's a good test,
Yeah.
test case.
And if the zoning allows and the lot is big enough, maybe get an ADU on
That
there,
is,
which we'll talk about in a minute.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saving that.
Yeah. All right. Love that. All right. Well, cool, man. Well, thanks for sharing that. I had some questions around that too, because house hacking is not how I started as far as purchase,
Mhm.
but it is how I started in the Airbnb game. So I kind of wanted to hear it from a
Yeah.
different lens because it was the same thing. Like I did the exact same thing. I couldn't afford the apartment that I was necessarily living in, but by renting out the other bedrooms, I could.
Right.
And then I can use that cash flow to rental arbitrage more units. So, and then it's wash, rinse, repeat, and you scale that. So I was just curious to hear it from that other lens.
Yeah, I feel like most people like they gotta start at the ground floor,
Have
and
to.
it's like, and it can be in different like ways. Like,
Genres.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
literally, and that's what it is.
yeah.
It's different genres. Like some people are Airbnb people, some
That's
people
right.
are development people, some people
Yeah,
are flippers. Like, but they all kind of get in like on the ground floor with it.
100%.
Like,
I was cleaning toilets 10 years ago, man. So
yep,
when you're cleaning a toilet in your house that a stranger used down the hall, that's humbling, man.
yep,
That's like, what am I doing in
yeah.
my life? I need a better solution. So yeah, cool, man. Well, thank you for sharing that. So I got some notes here. I just wanted to kind of talk to you about. I know you're big into travel. Do you do solo travel?
So I haven't done a lot of solo travel. I normally timing wise, I was like kind of planning to, and then I had met my girlfriend when I
Oh, nice.
recently exited the military, and
Yeah,
now it's fun to have a travel buddy.
totally.
But yeah, I'm very intentionally working to travel more and more each year,
Okay.
and still trying to work on if the concept of slow travel interests me.
Hmm.
I don't know, have you ever heard of like what slow travel is?
No.
It's essentially where you just go for like a 1 to 6 month period,
Hmm.
enough time to kind of like engulf yourself in the culture
Yeah.
and stay there. You have your local coffee shop that you work and stuff. You don't
Yeah.
quit working, but you can
Right.
go there for a while. Um,
Like
where
nomad work, kind of?
yeah, exactly. You're just kind of like working as a nomad for a little bit, where it's enough time to not be a vacation.
Mm,
Um, but it allows you to, you're not just living there.
dude, I
So,
love that concept. You're
so
speaking my language now, man.
yeah,
Yeah, if
so
I can get
that's
both
been
done.
interesting to me, and it's like it's weird because I haven't been able to do one of those yet. I've only been able to do vacations, and I actually like shorter vacations because I like my routine. So going and traveling for a week or two like throws off everything. You're jet lagged. You don't have you aren't working out the same way. Things like that. Where if I go for travel, like for vacation, I want it to be like short periods of time, like a
Right.
long weekend or something. But then I want to get to the point where I can go for 2 months and my business is still running. Like I
Love
can do
that.
everything remote. So it's
Yeah.
very strategically trying to set things up right now for that in the next couple years.
Love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did something similar to that last fall.
Mhm.
I went to Europe to visit my dad for his 70th. I was there for almost a month. And I was intentional about, hey, I'm going to take the first like week of this and not do any work at all. And it was amazing.
Mhm.
And then I was like, all right, then this week on these mornings, because I was like tracking
Mhm.
the time, I'm going to do like maybe a chunk of work every morning. And then I took my dad to Rome and no more work again. And it was great. It was a nice, like, I got to choose that. I got to choose like of that trip, what block and days that I want to work.
Mhm.
And I still felt like immersed in the culture and immersed in the environment. And I wasn't like checking my phone and my emails
Mhm.
all the time. And I came back and my business was okay, you
Yeah.
know? So yeah, I'm not at the place like if I went 6 months right now, My business would be okay. It wouldn't get better though necessarily.
Mhm.
So that's my goal this year is to kind of add the infrastructure and the different departments that I need so that not only is it okay while I'm gone, but it actually gets
Yeah, it
better if I
thrives.
leave.
That's
Right.
that's really I've never really thought about that. Most people are like they're like, how do I get this thing not to crash and
Right,
burn?
which is the first couple years.
Yeah.
But then eventually it's like, well, true freedom looks like this it's bigger than me. I'm a component of it, but it's not a
Yeah,
job.
you
It doesn't
help guide
need
the ship.
100%. Like right now, I still have a job. Like if I'm being real, like I'm the CEO, but it's a job. Like if I stop right now, there's a lot of things that like
Yeah.
wouldn't get better. And that's no knock at my team, love my team. But I just don't, we don't have the infrastructure in place yet and enough hires yet.
Mm.
Have you read Buy Back Your Time?
Yep.
Dude, so you know
Oh yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So I'm still in the time audit quadrant phase where
Yep.
for anyone listening, great book, Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time, shout out to Dan. But like it talks about the things that you're passionate about and make you the most money.
Mhm.
And I'm not doing enough of those. I would say like maybe 40% of my day I'm in that quadrant.
Yeah.
60% I'm still in the I don't like these and they don't make me a lot of money phase. And so that my goal this year is to like break out of that left lower quadrant. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, it's so there's like a two-part to that I've heard before that kind of it goes very along with that is like the things that you like or you love and you're great at, like those are the
Mm-hmm.
things you want to do all day. And there's essentially this like a similar quadrant thing where you have tasks that like you make all decision for,
Yeah.
and then there's ones that you make decision with somebody else's help, and then other people make the decision with your help, and then
Mm.
other people make all the decision. And the goal is to you list out your tasks day to day, take the tasks that you don't like, are not good at, and slowly start moving them down those quadrants and that's how you like outsource things.
Right.
And I like when I heard that because they tie together, it's like take the things that you don't like and you're not good at,
Yeah.
start going down these quadrants of outsourcing,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden like you only leave the stuff there, and it's like it was like so much more tangible to me of like how
100%.
you actually do that. So
100%. Well, and yeah, like I also do traction in EO. Have you ever
yep,
done
yep,
traction?
yeah,
Yep.
we do that at ADU Geeks.
Perfect. So like the delegate,
Mhm.
elevate.
That's where it came from. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So
Awesome. Well, that's a good pivot. So ADU Geeks, tell us a little bit about it. Tell us what that company is like, what you guys do, your niche, and then we'll get into I have some really good questions on ADUs. So
yes, throw them at me. Yeah, so I got into real estate development back in 2020. I bought my first property. It was the 4 unit, maxed out my debt to income ratio, but didn't put any money into the property because it was
mm,
zero down. So I was at this like weird point. I didn't really know anything about real estate, and was like, I have some money, but like I can't qualify for another property, so I don't know what to do.
yeah.
At that same time, the CEO at the time of ADU Geeks was very active, like teaching ADUs. And I met him at a meetup in like probably August of that year. And I bought my place in July. And I just like he said like you build at 300, you sell at 700. And I was like that math the same way that like this whole like house hacking math. And
Break that down for a second. Build for 300, sell. So when you say build, does that mean like including the acquisition, including
yeah, so it's a very like rule. It's a very like arbitrary number.
Mhm.
There's like tons more that go into that. It's way more
Sure.
expensive than that. But
Sure.
generally, it's like yes, like the cost of acquisition, all the permitting costs, the holding costs, the build costs is still whatever the cost per square foot is likely still cheaper than what you'd be selling at.
Okay.
And so by doing that, you've now created value just like somebody would be
Totally.
renovating a property.
Right.
It just tends to be more of a spread
Yeah.
in a lot of cases. But it's like that's where to me like that is what made sense. So like I said,
Yeah.
there's tons more that go into it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's kind of like where it piqued my interest.
Let me ask you, this is kind of random, but this the question just came to me. Do you like little like kind of bumper sticker phrases? Do you find that those short because earlier in your story you talked about how another one of those sparked you? Because I know my mind works like that. If I can encapsulate something in like a really quick thing, is that something you resonate with?
I really like simplicity.
That's what I'm saying. I've just on
Yeah.
this interview alone, I'm kind of gleaning that like if I could say it in like a sentence, is
Yep.
that kind of
Yeah, like, and it's hard. Like, it's one of the best phrases for that is I didn't have time to write a short story, so I wrote a long one instead. And it like
I love
I
that.
one of my buddy, I think it was like my buddy, one of our architects at work, Tom. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he told me that, and I love it because it takes way more time to
Mm,
simplify something than it does to just chat GPT it and make a long ass email that no one's gonna read anyway. And I realized for me like that's actually like for me, that's kind of like what I'm realizing is what I would consider my unique specialty
Mm.
is taking complex topics and simplifying them. I did that in the Marine Corps all day long with fitness and nutrition. I did that as a drill instructor, teaching them like the most basic stuff as a Marine. And now I do that with development all day long with homeowners.
Mm.
So it's like very complicated topics. I love breaking it down to as simple of a concept as I can for people to make it actionable. And that's actually like that's where I'm trying to go with like me. I'm like I feel like that's one of my superpowers.
Dude, you
Is
lit up
yeah,
talking about it.
yeah, it's
And
fun.
in this interview alone, I've kind of seen that just based on how you're telling stories and the moments in your life that led to something. You were saying that there's kind of always these little one phrasers.
Mhm.
And I'm the same way, dude. I love, I know what you want to call them, quips or bumper stickers
Mhm.
like, less is more, right? I love
Right.
that expression.
Yeah.
It says everything you need in one quick thing and it
Yeah.
like teaches you that like, hey, can I say this with less?
Mhm.
In fact, we did that in songwriting. Like one of the things they teach you in songwriting is like, just can I say it with less words? Can I
Yep.
condense this? The greatest hooks of every song ever is usually 4 or 5 words or
Mhm.
syllables. Like that's it. Like of all time, the number 100 songs in pop music about 4 or 5
Yeah.
syllables in those hooks,
Yeah.
those phrases.
It is. That's so interesting because it really is because it's so challenging
Yeah.
to really simplify. And that's actually I've like that is the testament to somebody if they truly know a topic.
Mm.
It's not how like I don't know if professors are the right word, but like I feel like a lot of people try to sound smart
Yeah.
and and try and prove that they know so much
Verbose.
and be
Yeah.
very verbose with it
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
if you could just break it down to a single
Right.
sentence, it all of a sudden is like there's a lot that goes behind that. And
Yeah.
like this is the only important thing that matters in
So
this.
hard, so
Like
difficult. Well, dude, I can't wait. I can't wait to see your website and like how, because we're gonna remember this. We're gonna come back to this in
yeah,
like 6 months or a year,
yeah.
and I'm gonna be like, Brian, how has simplicity shown up for you and achieved success for you in your career? I'm interested to see
Yes.
more of this. So,
I will
yeah,
continue to try. I
I'm stoked,
value
dude.
simplicity.
Yeah, love that, love that. Cool, man. Well, yeah, back to this. I could tell as the interview was going, I was like, this is interesting. It's a theme I was
Yeah.
noticing. Okay, so let's go back to where you were at with the ADU, and it was 20. What was the
Yeah,
year
it was
again?
2020.
Okay.
And so we went into basically, I met two people
Mhm.
who both were like, let's do development. And we felt, confident blindly enough to get into real estate development, which a lot of learning lessons through that. But we bought some land or we went into escrow on some land in Logan Heights in December of 2020. And we were expecting to put 4 units on it.
Mhm.
That month is the same month that the bonus ADU program came out.
Ooh.
So we all of a sudden like heard about this like thing like Info
Yeah.
Bulletin 400 is what it
Yeah.
was called, and we started like reading it and we started realizing we're like wait hold on, and we started like going down these rabbit holes and we're like wait if we do this and we pat it here and we like do these things like all of a sudden we were able to add 8 units to this property,
Interesting.
and it literally like it blew my mind because I was
Wow.
like we literally just by me sitting down on a couch
Right.
reading a couple of pages of code,
It's awesome.
all of a sudden I just doubled my unit count and it like blew my mind. And so from there, for the next like year, all of 2021, I was continuing to learn. I was continuing to look through the lens of a developer on every lot, every property that I looked at. I would scroll Redfin like I was scrolling Instagram, trying to find properties to do ADU potential on,
Yeah.
and then like reading code and figuring out how I can make it work. And it got to the point where the CEO of ADU Geeks, I would be like at a meetup that he was like teaching at, and he'd be ask a question, be like, anyone except Brian can answer. Like, and that was just kind of the
Yeah.
theme because
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd seen him
Yeah.
at like probably like 10 or 12 events by all of
Right.
2021. And I just, I knew I was like exiting out. I knew I wanted to be a developer at that point.
Mm.
And that was why I ended up, I'm lucky enough to be in the military. They have this program called Skill Bridge that allows you to spend it up to 6 months interning at a company to help
Mm.
you transition out while still getting paid by the military.
Mm.
So I was actually able to go intern at ADU Geeks 3 years ago tomorrow, actually.
Wow.
Um,
Happy 3 years.
yeah, 3 years, baby.
Tomorrow, literally.
Yep, yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I went over there, and because I had already been doing it on my own, I had already been learning so much about it. Like, I came in and I was passionate about it. Like I knew all a lot of the code. I knew from the lens of a developer, kind of financially what things made sense, what things didn't, and since then it's grown, and I've moved to a little bit bigger projects. I'm still able to do all of the smaller ones. I actually like doing smaller projects now in hindsight. And I love it. I've probably helped like underwrite like 500 projects or like determine scope on like 500 projects now.
Love it.
So it's been fun. I've been in a like very unique position to be at a company that has over 500
Mm-hmm.
projects,
Mm-hmm.
but then also always be looking at it from the lens of a developer because I'm doing it myself. And it's just created this very unique like education because we're in like the most forward ADU city in America, if not
Wow.
like the world, being in San Diego with this bonus ADU program.
Wow.
So it's been super cool, like super
Awesome,
exciting.
brother. Well, I want to talk. I want to get into the nitty gritty. But a question just came to me as you were talking, because everything you just described is not typical. I don't know if anyone's ever told you that. That like you went from military, musician, all these things to this incredible entrepreneurial leap. That you went into a world with almost no experience, no resources. Yeah, sure, you had a mentor, that's fine, but you know that that's not normal, right? Like, I don't know if anyone ever told you that. So my question is, and it's a good thing that you
Yeah,
did that. I'm not. It's actually a
yeah.
good thing. It's not normal. What do you think caused that? Like, did you had entrepreneurial stuff earlier in life? Like, did you always kind of have this think outside the box, look around blind corners? Because that to me is more fast. Like we can talk about the nitty gritty and ADUs and zoning, which we will, and I'm excited about that. But the thing that I'm more interested in is the why behind entrepreneurs. And I
Mhm.
just find it so fascinating when I hear these stories of like taking something from nothing, finding a way to add value, finding a way to, I mean, where did that come from?
Yeah, it's like I like wish I had like this story of like, oh yeah, I was like
Yeah.
out selling things
Yeah.
and I made $1 million by the time I was 12. I don't have like a single story like that or a single moment.
Sure.
I had these little blips where like I started this little like company with my brother and our neighbor
Mhm.
when I was like 11 years old, and we started doing just odd jobs like mowing lawns, things like that. I ended up just like it didn't really grow legs, but this one lady, she's an old, an elderly 70-ish year old lady, and was walking her dogs for her like multiple times a week.
How old were you?
I was 11 at the
Okay.
time, and
Was that your first kind of like
that was like really the first entrepreneurial thing. And then over the next like year or two, both my brother and our neighbor kind of like fell off,
mhm,
and I just continue going. I was like, why would I not? Like,
mm,
number one, it makes me a couple bucks every time, which is
mhm,
cool. And I really like the lady, and so I think I don't know if that was what triggered an entrepreneurial spirit, but what I think it did was trigger a level of consistency
mhm, mhm,
because I did that until I joined the military. Like
mhm,
I like 2 to 3 times a week, every
mhm.
single week. I started mowing her grass. I started, shoveling her driveway because we live
Yep.
in Ohio. And I number one, she became an amazing, like basically she's a grandma to me at this point.
Oh,
And yeah, I did it for what 7 years straight, like ever without
are you
failure.
still in touch?
Yeah. So I
That's
actually
awesome.
last time I went home, I went and saw her.
Love that.
Um, and it just like I think that was really the thing. And then I also like with that money, it wasn't entrepreneurial. Like I didn't invest it, but I had saved like $4,000
Mm,
before I joined the military, all
mm.
from just this job.
Right, right, right.
Um, so I think that that's really what kind of triggered like where I had the fuel, I
Mm.
guess, like from and the understanding that the first step is saving money to
Yeah.
me. It's not making because like when you're 18, when you're 16, you're not going to make that much money, but every dollar that you save is really like $1.33 made
Mm.
because taxes.
Right.
So if you can save it, if you can just stop the frivolous spending,
Yeah.
that allows you to get to stay above ground zero, which most
Sure.
people go into debt when
Sure.
credit card debt and college debt and stuff like that. And so not being in the military, not being any of these things,
Yeah.
I was able to take the reduction of debt and no debt, take the savings aggressively while I was making the money consistently. And all of a sudden, I had like a nest egg that it was this fuel of, probably I saved like 50K in my first enlistment
Mhm,
by not spending money on dumb shit, really.
mhm.
Um, and I took that, and then as soon as I went to drill instructor school, the dude said this little thing about like making 100 grand and a house hack or whatever, and I was like, that's the thing.
Mm.
I was waiting for a thing
Mm.
for the fuel, and that was
Yeah.
the vehicle to do it.
Love that.
And that's what I latched onto. And so I think for me, it was like I knew that it was something. I
Mm.
didn't know what it was, but
Yeah.
I was like, I know that like fundamentally, it's like don't spend money on dumb stuff, save the money, and then do something with it. And that was like the trigger. And being set up prior to with the good habits, I think allowed me to, good credit score, no debt,
Hmm.
all those things allowed me to then pull the trigger. And then that paired with, I think, a level of not being scared to learn on the way down. We were like
Hmm.
joking about 5 minutes
Hmm.
ago, like building a parachute on the way down. Like
100%. I say it all the time.
yeah, it's like the whole like analysis paralysis thing. It's
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
just know enough to know the questions to ask.
Yeah.
Go ask people that are smarter than you that have already done it,
Yeah.
because 99% of them will want to help you and tell you when it's a shit deal.
Yeah.
And that was what I did. I literally, between the moment that I was like, I'm gonna go learn about real estate and rip it, and the time I was in escrow was about 2 weeks. It was like May 14th to June 5th.
It's crazy. I love it.
And that was,
I love it.
so that's kind of the long version.
No, but it's that to me, that's like the glue that combines entrepreneurs. Is there's this thing and we can't really articulate it. We can't describe it. It's a pull. It's a sense. There's no way to encapsulate it. And I felt that way my entire life. And I was always like, I remember, it's cheesy, but I would do vision boards my whole life
Yeah.
since I was a kid. And in the center of the vision board always was just the word LA. Always. I didn't know why. I didn't know what I was going to do when I got there. But sure enough, one day I packed my car. I put a date on the books. I had no job. I had no resources. I had no connections, no family, no friends, nothing in LA. I didn't know why I was even going there other than I'm going to pursue my dreams in the entertainment industry and I'm going to make it happen. And you just leap and the net appears. And I think there's this thing, like, I don't know, I was listening to, I think it was Hormozy earlier, where he was like, when you have nothing to lose, that's the most free you're ever going to be in your life. And people are scared to take these chances, but it's like that's like going to a casino and they let you just roll the dice for free until you win.
Yeah.
You leave with what you came with, which was nothing. And you can always go back to baseline. You know what I mean? But you can't always go forward. And I just want to encourage people, anyone that's listening to this, it's like you can always go back, like whatever the hometown is, or the old job, or the old career, or the old whatever, but you can't always go forward. You have a limited window in life where you're young enough, where you're ballsy enough, where you have enough time, where you have enough resources, where you can just go for it. And like, what's the worst that happens? Like, if that didn't work out for you, okay, you're still young, you're still,
Yeah. I
like,
still have education. I still
right.
have a job. Like,
Family,
yeah.
you had a girlfriend, all these things. I mean, like, so, okay, you would have maybe lost some money and you would have got some scars and you would have got some lessons learned. And then you could have taken all that and probably done better on your next deal. So you didn't even lose anything in that scenario.
Exactly.
So I always want to encourage, and that's why I think I want to do this podcast, is like, it's all here. It really is a mindset thing. And then the trick is you can't think your way into right acting. You have to act your way into right thinking. So even though, yes, it's a mindset thing, just take the footwork. The feet go and the mind follows, not the other way around.
Dude, oh my God. First of all, like mic drops all over the place on that. So quality information. No, I really like that. It's like, yeah, like the concept of like the build the parachute on the way down is like you just get started and then it's you have no option except to figure it out
100%.
or you don't. And then like and
Right.
from there, but like and like for
Right.
me, I got my ass handed to me
Oh, I
on a
heard.
couple projects like
I
after
heard.
that, yeah. And I'm like, damn, like whatever, learning lessons. But I'm
Yeah.
like, who cares? Like
Right.
literally like money. My thing is like if you ever heard of GoBundance, they have like
Mm-mm.
it's a mastermind group, but they have like this concept of this like different pillars of life. And basically it's like, you have your health, you have your family, you have your job, you have your passions, your hobbies, things like that, right? And if it's like if you look at it like it's a pie chart and you have your financial, gain in one, you still have family, you still have all these other ones. It's like everyone focuses on this one singular pillar of like the finances means everything. And yes, it's a vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
you can do more things,
Mm-hmm.
cool.
It's a tool.
But
It's
exactly,
energy.
it's a tool. But it's like even if the one quadrant or the one little section of the pie goes down to zero, which is likely, it's really hard to lose all your money in real estate if you're
Mm.
an idiot. It's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have your family's good, your health's good, your everything else good, you've been a good dude, you have friends, like hobbies, like you still if 100% in 1/5 of it versus 90% or 80% on everything else, that one goes away. You're still batting
Right.
way better.
That's right.
And I feel like that's what people forget is like people let their health decline. People stop
Yeah.
going to the gym. People stop doing all these other things where I'm like, no, that's what gives you the balls
Yeah.
to then go play with this one and
Yeah.
experiment with it.
Love that.
Because it's like you have it's like I lose all my money.
Right.
I still have my brain, I still have my
Right.
health, I can still have a job, I can still
Right.
pay my rent. Like, who cares? Like, it's a game. Money's a game. Like, the everything else is what matters.
Yeah. Well, and you can't lose like I forget how it's expressed. I don't know if it was Jim Rome, but it's like I work on the work and the work works on me.
Hmm.
It's not about the end result. And I know it's so cheesy, like journey, not the
Yeah.
destination. But the fact is that who you become in the process is the result.
Yeah.
So the dollar amount is cool and it's great. I love me some cash and prizes. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But if those cash and prizes go away, I still have me. I still have the man in the mirror. I still have my character, my integrity, who I am as a person, who I am when no one's watching, who I am to my family, my friends. So those things are invaluable,
Yeah.
but you can only get those things when you're putting yourself through these trials and tribulations,
Yep.
or life's going to do it for you. What is
Exactly.
it like, chosen suffering or forced suffering? One's going to happen. So you might as well do the cold plunge and the 4 a.m.
Right.
workouts and the fucking all the hard shit that you put yourself through, because life is going to do that regardless.
Yeah.
So you may as well get in the reps. You may as well build that muscle memory. You may as well get that momentum. And then these things aren't as extreme. Dude, I went through terrible health issues earlier in life, things that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And I still pull from those things to this day. And I'm like, you know what? At least it ain't that. At least it fucking ain't that.
Yeah.
If I lose this deal or I lose this thing or whatever it is, the cash prizes, it's not that bad. And there's people that have been through way fucking worse than you and I could even imagine, like, and I think it's all relative. And I think that's why I'm doing this podcast is I want to find a way to connect with people where we talk about how we take these hardships, how we take this adversity, and we alchemize it into something good for ourselves and for other people. That is what I think is the ultimate goal and the ultimate connection. Because all this other stuff, it comes and goes, it's fleeting. But if you and I, as entrepreneurs and as human beings, can find a way to take the things that we've been through and not only help ourselves, but help other people and contribute to something greater than us, fuck, man. You can't put a price on that.
No, and I
So,
think, dude,
on my soapbox, but
no,
yeah.
I really appreciate everything that you just said. Like, I appreciate it, and I think that it's really people realize the thing that matters is not money. It's
Mm,
being able to help others. People want to solve problems. That's
yeah,
really, if you broke everything down, people want to solve problems. They want to
yeah,
solve money problems. They want to solve, really. My problem is I'm not in a relationship. I want to be in a relationship.
yeah.
Like, whatever it is, and just having that ability to go help other people solve their problems is the ultimate form of it, because now it's not just the amount of problems I have or can
Mm,
solve, it's the amount of solved problems of people that I can get to
mm-hmm.
help teach them how to solve. And all of a sudden, like, and that's why I really like the space of like entrepreneurship and things like that. Is most people, it's like, why would I not help you? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
feel good about it. I have learning lessons that you can benefit from. It's almost like, I don't want to say it's like charity, but it's like similar concept where it's like you're giving what you have to others, and it actually by giving away, it makes you feel better.
100%.
Like,
What is it? The people at the bottom are competing, the people at the top are collaborating.
yep,
I love
yeah,
that. And I used to have such a scarcity mentality, dude. I'll just be real with you. Like growing up, I have an identical twin and everything was split 50-50. Always had to fight for attention and resources. And this bike, we have to share it. So I had this weird childhood that put me into a very like competitive scarcity mindset, and that just doesn't work well in the long run in business or in your personal life or anything. And it wasn't until I don't know until I saw other people collaborating, and I would ask them like, hey man, you're not worried this person's gonna like steal your idea or steal your thing, whatever. And they're like, they still have to execute. Like
right,
they
yeah.
still got to
You're
do the
selling the
thing. I can
ideas.
give you the how all day. You still got to do the thing. But by giving you the how, now all of a sudden there's trust that's built. And maybe now you come to me and we work together, and we build a business together, we do a project together. And it's really opened my mind and my eyes. And I would say the last maybe 10 years of my career, I just flipped it. And man, it's like it's freeing, it's empowering, and it's actually like easier, frankly. Like when you're just kind of being scarcity minded and you're doing it all, that's so hard. That's a hard place to be,
It
you know?
it's hard. I remember, like, I number one, I love that because for me, it's like I would rather like overly share,
Yeah.
because it allows me then to find the people that will take advantage of that much quicker.
Yeah.
And then I'm
Like
like,
who are
oh,
the real
yeah,
players?
like, who are the people
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay,
The
cool. Thanks for letting me know
executors.
now that I never want to work with you again.
Right,
Like,
right,
instead
right,
of
right.
like,
Yeah.
waiting, hiding it, and then once we build the relationship in 3, 4 years, then I give you the information. All of a sudden, that's when you take. I'm like, oh man, I just wasted 4 or 5 years with you. Like,
Mm.
where it's like, if I'm a very open, like,
Vulnerable from the
yeah,
beginning.
vulnerable from the beginning, people will show their true colors very quickly, and it
Love
becomes much
that.
easier to
Love that.
remove yourself from situations you don't need to be in.
Dude,
Like,
well
so.
said. Hell yeah, man. Well, I got so much still I want to ask you. We got the sun coming this way a little
It's
bit, so we'll see. Let me know if it gets too far up. I mean, I feel like honestly, the way we're riffing right now, I kind of want to stick with the mindset, spirituality
yeah,
stuff, and then maybe
absolutely.
we'll kind of end it with more of the ADU stuff.
Yeah,
But
whatever you want to do, man. Like, I was just on Chris Luna's, and it was like all ADU stuff. So
nice. Love
your
that.
your
All right,
ADU stuff, we
we'll
can talk.
splice some Chris the
Yeah,
Chris podcast in here. So, to try to stay on theme a little bit just for the show, everything you just said is basically there, but can you think of an example in your life, one or many, where you did turn kind of hardship or adversity or something difficult situation into something that ended up being beneficial for you or for others?
yeah. So I would say probably the hardest thing that I dealt with in my life was actually when I was a drill instructor.
Okay.
When you're a drill instructor, and this, everyone has their own experiences. People way, like you said, way worse than I had it.
Yeah.
But it was very challenging because the drill instructors on your team are the only people that you interact with, really.
Okay.
And they are not always, they're trying to train you. And very simply put, they want you to get so pissed off at them that you take it out on the recruits. And that's
Okay.
what makes you a monster as a drill instructor, which is the
Okay.
point. They want you to be the meanest, nastiest, angriest person. So they essentially, like, will sleep deprive you. They will not, really give you sufficient time to eat, make you hungry, tired, and all these things. And it forces you to then essentially take it out on the recruits. That's the goal of it. Where I understood, I was like, wait, no, you're the one doing it to me. Why would I be mad at them?
Mm.
And so I was not able to transfer that anger.
Mm.
And so it made me a bad drill instructor on my first cycle. Which, your first cycle is like you're always learning, and the cycle is the 3 month time frame you're with, specific recruits. So your first one is always on the job training, so it's very new to you. But that created a very poor environment where everyone on my team was actually a higher rank than me. So I could never, anytime that I would try and argue with them, it was, you're a sergeant, I'm a staff sergeant, stop arguing with me.
Mm.
And we live in the same little room together, 5 people in like this little tiny room, where it was at a point where literally I was like showering, I was in my underwear, like changing, and one of the guys like came up to me and was literally like, I just want you to know that I hate you. Like, genuinely, like, from the bottom of his heart, he hated me.
Oh my God.
And it was it was just a very weird time in my life. And so what I learned from that, like, I call it the senior drill instructor, he, pushed me very, very hard, in a way that I would not push somebody. And so what I learned from that was, there's the way that define good leaders and bad leaders is something bad happens to them, and there's two options. You can say, this thing happened to me, and so it's going to happen to you. Stop complaining. It's happened to me. Like, shut up. Or the second way is, this thing happened to me and it was terrible. I'm never going to fucking let that happen to you.
Mm.
And they were very much on the first side of that. And for me, I learned, like, I never want to be that. And so
Mm.
I actually learned more from bad leaders on what not to do than what I learned from good leaders in a lot of scenarios. So it taught me anger management. It taught me patience. It taught me trying to understand the context of a situation before you jump to conclusions. And I still to this day take all those things with me. So
Dude, mic drop right there, man. I just got chills, dude. That's beautiful, man. There's a story that reminds me of. It's just I don't know if it's a story. I borrow everything is unoriginal. Everything that I say is, I
yeah,
collect phrases and phraseology, but I forget who said it, so I'll try to give credit later. But they talk about these two twins that are raised by this abusive father. Father beats them and does all these things to them as they're growing up, right? The twins separate and they don't talk for decades and decades, and they each create a family. And one of the twins does exactly the same thing, beats his kids, all that. And then the other twin doesn't do any of that. And, they go to church and they do all these other things and have a very wholesome life. And they get interviewed, and the first twin that's abusive, he goes, "Well, if you had my childhood, how could I do anything else?" And then the other twin that gets interviewed says, "Well, if you had my childhood, how could I possibly repeat that?" And it's that little switch in your head, and Ed Milet talks about this all the time, like, I am the one breaking the cycle, breaking the chain. Every generation wants to be better than the previous, and I don't have kids yet, but I think my goal, and as a leader and as a CEO, and some people that have people that work for me, is exactly the second thing that you said. I've been through this hell. I've been through this misery. I'm going to do everything I can to prevent you from going through that as well. Versus, I'm just going to now put it all back on you. And there's that famous expression, like, hurting people hurt people. And I think it's such a valuable resource. Like, when someone's doing that to me, or someone's acting out to me, or trying to actively cause me harm, like, number one is, like, don't take it personally, right? Like, I'm just an avatar. I'm just representing something to them. I don't know what it is about me that is triggering something in them, but it's not me, unless it is really me. Like, if I
Right.
robbed your house, all right, fine,
Yep.
like, pull a gun on me. But for the most part, especially if it's a stranger, A, don't take it personally. And then B, it's like, how can I, and this is easier said than done, but, like, how can I try to find compassion in this moment for this person? Everyone is going through their own personal hell. Everyone's going through their own personal struggle. Again, way easier said than done. I had a mentor one time tell me that he gives 5 free passes a day. And it is such a cool tool. And what I mean by that is, I'm driving in traffic, some asshole cuts me off, that's pass number one. I'm not gonna honk, I'm not gonna, like, try to race them, you get one. I'm in the grocery line, someone's got 25 items and the 10 item or less, that's pass number two. If I can make it through a whole day and with 5 passes, usually I'm doing well.
Yeah.
I know that sounds silly and trite, but, like, I just think it's something
It's
that
practical. It's
it's very
actionable.
practical.
Yeah.
You get 5 passes, so
That's
but
hilarious.
anyways, I really enjoy that story, man. And so still to this day, you're pulling from that experience, and how does that show up for you today?
So I've gotten really passionate about relationship psychology.
Okay.
And I, maybe ask my girlfriend for an unbiased or from the other
Sure.
perspective, but it's very interesting to me how every issue you have between people is kind of fundamentally the same thing.
Mm,
Because it's a relationship, whether it's your girlfriend, boyfriend, or your boss or your colleague,
let's
it
go.
is specific. It is a relationship.
Mhm.
And so what most people struggle with, it's very similar to like how, we're like, oh, we don't get taught about taxes in college. Like I get it or in school and stuff.
Right.
You don't get taught about conflict resolution.
Mm,
And so most people just whatever you grew up with as a child is generally the way you deal with conflict.
mm,
And now there's so much more information that our parents or grandparents had
right.
where it's fundamentally it's like kind of one thing. It's like it's never you versus them.
Mm.
It's you two versus the problem.
Dude, I love that.
And that's like literally like it's not like way easier said than done in
Yeah.
moments because when you're heated, but it's like the more you can remain pragmatic and level, not that you're not mad, but like trying to understand why you're mad and getting down to that root problem with them. It's like, hey, and it's like the whole like I versus you thing. It's
Mm,
like, hey, like I'm really frustrated right now. Like the way that we were like talking before, like it did not feel like it was coming from a place of like respect, and I was super mad.
mm.
Where versus like you're being an asshole,
Right, right,
like
right, right.
very
Yeah, it's
different,
so different. Yeah.
very different, and being able to practice that as much as possible is incredibly, incredibly important.
Mm.
And so for me, like that's one of the biggest things is like I just try so hard to like in every scenario, it's like it's never I'm not mad at you. Nothing you never make a decision that you think is wrong. I never make one that I think is wrong. But like let's figure out what the right answer is, not the one that we thought was right.
Dude, I love
So
that.
I'm like, I don't know. I find that's really it's fun for me.
It's
To kind of
awesome. No, and how old are you right now?
28.
Damn, you're so ahead of the game, man. You're so ahead of the game. Emotional maturity through the roof, dude. I wasn't even, well, I'm gonna say how old I am, but yeah, like I wasn't there when I was 28 for sure. To piggyback off that, there's this really cool thing I learned where, have you ever heard the expression, who's talking, who's listening?
No.
Oh, it's such a great tool. So, and this applies to business, personal, everything's a relationship, like you said, right?
Mhm.
So when I'm engaged in some kind of heated moment, or you know that little twing you get, we
Mhm.
all feel it in our solar plex, right? Whether it's anger, excitement, fear, resentment, whatever it is, right? There's that emotional like, oh, is it go time? Is it go time?
Right.
And I try to pause, right? Always like such a valuable tool. Like, don't send the email, don't send the text, don't make the call, just wait, right? Postpone action until serenity enters is what pause stands
Mhm.
for. Okay. Really cool tool.
Nice.
But then when my adrenaline comes down and I'm not in that heated, triggered state, what I try to do is who was really talking and who was really listening in that moment. And what I mean by that is, let's say I'm on a Zoom call and there's some guy and maybe he's in his 60s and he says something to me as a client or whatever, and he disrespects me, right? Or he's like, you suck, or you're bad at this, or whatever it is, right? In that moment, my knee jerk is to like defend or whatever. But if I can wait till the Zoom call's over and try to find out like who is he representing to me in that moment and who was listening to him. Dude, it's like maybe he represents my dad and I'm like the 14-year-old kid hearing
Mhm.
that. And that's why I'm so triggered. Or maybe I'm representing something to him. I'm the son that he
Mhm.
hates or whatever. And that's why he's so triggered. Or when it's the girlfriend, maybe it's something that my mom said to me when I was 10 and that got triggered. And there's so much empowerment what comes from this like self-awareness of like who was really talking and who was really listening. And I have found it to be such a freeing tool, and then I'll go write the email. Then I'll go write the text. And I'll try to show up as like 41-year-old
Mhm.
aware ego Evan versus like 14-year-old I'm gonna fight you over this Evan.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. That's really hard to do.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
no
being
shit.
able because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it is. It's like it's really most people. It's whatever like you showed up as in your childhood.
Right.
That's kind of where it stemmed from, where it was created, and then unless you actively go out of your way to learn it,
Yeah,
that is what you revert to. It's kind of like
right.
very similar to like in the
That's what I'm saying.
military.
You revert to it.
Yep.
And so if you're not aware of it, it's like awareness, acceptance, and action. And sorry to cut you off.
Yep.
But I have to be aware of it first of all. Then I have to accept that that is my true reality. And then I have to take an action to do something about it.
Mhm.
And most people never even get to the first part of that,
Yeah.
let alone now, how can I change? But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, yeah, it's like it's so hard to do, especially at a point where like that is all you know.
Mm,
Like that is all you know is like if the only way to get things when you were a kid was to yell. And so like that's how you deal with
right.
conflict now. And that paired with the other thing that's really hard is like when you and your partner,
Oh,
like I I love like the better you are at conflict resolution, you bring them up
mm,
where whoever like basically whoever's the stronger, that's where you're at. So if somebody's good at conflict resolution, somebody's bad, but this person, the one that's bad is louder, they're gonna trail towards the other way over time. If they're both bad, that's like those toxic
yeah.
relationships. Where if you are actively good and you refuse to lose sight of that, like you do not waver, when it's like you will be the stronger one, and you actually will teach them because they will start getting to the point where they just want to win a conversation, and they'll start to realize like, oh, I actually feel better by like solving the problem, not just winning the
Oh,
argument.
man. Do you want to be happy? Do you want to be right? It's
No,
so
dude.
hard.
Oh my god,
It's
that
the
is like
worst. I fucking hate it.
exactly, exactly. It's like, and that's where I'm like, like whenever I argue, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be right.
Mm.
I want the right answer.
The
Like,
worst. I want to be right. It's so
yep,
hard, dude. Yeah. Well, dude, what a cool tangent we went off
same.
on. Love that. And that's why I love doing this because you just never know, man.
Mhm.
Like, we're friends and we've hung out, but I feel like a podcast is like you encapsulate like 100 hangouts
Yeah,
into like, all right,
yeah.
let's just
You
get
have
to
very
the,
structured.
yeah, like the nitty gritty of it. So very cool, man. We're doing okay on time. I got a couple more. Is the sun getting you?
It will in a second
Okay.
turn to me.
How we doing on cameras and stuff? Cool, man. All right, let's just
Mhm.
keep it rocking. So, all right, so this is an interesting one. And I've talked about this on a previous episode. I'm fascinated with push and pull motivation. Are you familiar with push and pull
Yeah,
motivation?
yeah.
So Tony Robbins talks about this all the time, and it's like most people, including myself, we start with the push, right? And push is usually I'm getting pushed by something, so fear or lack of resources, I'm broke, trauma, whatever it is, right? And I'm trying, like those people that are like, I'm gonna prove something, which I've
Yeah.
been there, chip on my shoulder, right?
Yep.
Which is good at times. Like God knows I've gone to the gym and worked out some like, I'm gonna prove this fucker wrong, right?
Yep.
For sure, it's valuable. There's no question. But like eventually, the goal, at least what Tony Robbins talks about, is to tap into pull motivation, which is now it's something other than just avoiding negative.
Mhm.
It's going towards positive, right? So it's kind of what we were talking about earlier, helping others, contribute to something bigger than myself, right? Like it's one thing to want to pay my rent, that's push motivation.
Mhm.
It's another thing to want to start a charity and help a million people.
Mhm.
That's pull motivation.
Yeah.
So in your life, what does pull motivation show up like?
That's a really good question. Um, yeah, I don't I don't know. I think that I just want to help people.
Okay.
I want I love teaching because I know
Mm,
the effects of that. It's a pervasive effect. I teach one person and I also do it in a way that makes them want to teach other people, and all of a sudden it becomes this disseminating thing. And so for me, I want to find an outlet where I can take the whatever's in my brain, and I because I want to continue learning. I don't want to just be like,
for
here's what I have
sure.
right now, and that's just we'll just take that singular information and disperse it as much as possible. It's like, no, I want to continue learning. I want, more and more people to get more and more from it. And I know that by doing that, I then get the opportunity to, generally be compensated in value to the value that you bring to society.
Love that.
And then I know from there that I will be able to find more of the why. Because I don't really have the strongest why. It's
Mm-hmm.
outside of just kind of I just want the freedom to be able to play the game.
Mm,
And because I know that you get all these things, you get your health, your relationships, the money, you get all these things figured out. And then from there, you have the ability and the tools to then go do more and solve bigger problems.
love that.
And that's really all it is. Like, I don't know what that specific thing is. I imagine that my life will have likely about, I would say probably, if you were to break it down, like decades of chapters,
Mm,
where maybe this decade is very heavy towards like real estate development education.
mm-hmm.
And then maybe the next chapter is a new thing.
Yeah.
And this next, decade is another thing. And because I feel like that's what it is. Like, I enjoy solving problems. I enjoy helping people. That will never change. But I think the outlet to do it, if things go right, becomes a bigger problem to solve and more people that I can help in each phase.
Let's go.
So,
Dude, so fucking love what you just said. And just in this interview alone, I bet you we could trace a through line through the learning the tuba, going to the military, doing this. It's just higher levels and ability to impact more people. And I think
interesting.
that is like when you said freedom and I went like this, it's because for me, there's nothing more powerful than being able to impact other people. And there's nothing wrong with somebody that just wants to teach one person at a time. That has value and that's amazing. But what I just heard you say is like you are leveling up. You're going to these different buckets and different kind of plateaus where each of these other plateaus now the impact gets greater. And that's what excites me, man. That's what I love about entrepreneurialism. Because eventually, like money's great, but it comes and goes, like we talked about. Where what lights me up, what excites me is like, oh shit, this is a new way that I can impact more people. Let's go.
Dude,
Does that make sense?
no, I'm like pausing because I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I think that's very accurate.
Did we just tie it together?
I think no, I'm like being very serious. Like, I think I'm like trying to think now. I'm like, yes, like everything. Yeah, I guess that does like follow suit with that. And yeah, that really is like what I'm trying to do. I think. Like,
Let's
that's, dude.
go.
Fuck yeah.
I'll send you the therapy bill.
Yeah. No, Jesus.
It's a breakthrough, and it happened for me. I would say about maybe like 10 years ago. I struggled with, money bad. Just want to be comfortable. If you're doing this, it's ego. If you're doing this, it's selfish. I struggled with that my whole life. I was raised by amazing parents, but they were both lawyers. They both followed a very like scarcity as far as well. I don't want to say this the wrong way, but like I'll give you an example. My mother, who I love dearly, on Sundays, we would spend 8 hours to save like $100 on like
Mm,
going to Marshalls and going to
yeah, dude.
Ross and finding the right shirt. And all these
Right.
things. And it's like, to me, that 8 hours you could have used to like create something that
Yeah.
would make more than
Frugality to a fault. Like
exactly.
that's yeah.
Exactly, which I think also led to scarcity. And I struggled for the longest time on like, hey, if I'm an entrepreneur, I'm selfish. And to me, and this is a bold statement, in my opinion, it's actually selfish to not be. It's selfish to not want to find a way to expand and help other people in that expansion. Because then you're just kind of you're like hoarding your gifts, you're hoarding your talents, you're hoarding whatever it is, whether that's out of fear or like old tapes or like, religion or whatever it is. And dude, I just had that breakthrough maybe about 10 years ago where I was like, I'm just done listening to that voice. It might never ever go away, but like, go over there
Yeah.
and let me just be armed in the knowledge that the more I can expand, the more I can help other people.
Yeah. No, dude, that's really interesting because like to a point, like I have the phrase like you can't pour from an empty cup.
Mm,
And so it's like to an extent you do have to be selfish to
100%.
build the
Yeah.
skills. Otherwise, like you're constantly like if your cup is always leaking, like you're never going to be able to pour into more than one person. But it's like if you figure out a way to have it filling up constantly, you can continue pouring more and more and more and more and more. And then you fill up the 5 cups that are there, and then those 5 cups pour into another cup, and that cup pours into five, and all of a sudden a pyramid scheme in a good way, like a
Yeah.
good pyramid scheme.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
So
pyramids got built for a reason. Like, like they work.
yeah,
They still stand. There
dude.
can be good pyramids.
Yeah, so that's like no, that's really, really interesting. Because yeah, I think it's so true. Like the amount of people that you, you know, if you get the skills, and that's the problem that I'm in right now is like I have so much like hyper nuanced, very specific knowledge of like ADUs and development, and I help like one on one. But now like with ADU Geeks, that's a huge thing that I'm doing is like figuring out how to build out like education
Mm,
that can scale my brain,
mm,
and that's like the term we're like using is like how like I being in a very unique spot. Like I have a
mm-hmm.
lot of like retention of knowledge in my brain of very things, but it's like how do I get that out to people?
Yeah. Well,
Um,
you're doing it right now. You're doing it right now. You're a pillar in your community. Your reputation precedes you. Everybody that I've talked to you about you says the same thing. So it's how you're showing up in your daily life and then just expanding a platform. I mean, that's the main reason I'm doing this podcast is I found like maybe this is a better way that I can impact people where it's not just about like I'm the Airbnb guy or the money guy. It's like how can I find a way to tap people on the shoulder that don't care about Airbnb at all.
yeah,
And like you're doing it with your personal brand. So you're already actively doing the
yeah,
thing that you want to do. You're just getting started at it,
yeah,
right? And so am I. So we're all a work in progress.
yeah.
But I want to go back to that guy that when you were in the military said that thing to you because it ties back to what we just said. That guy had to. What was his name? Do you remember his name? Just his first name.
I don't
It
know.
doesn't
We
matter.
always knew, yeah. What
But
was
let's
his
call
last
him
name?
Sean. So Sean did what he taught you. He got a house hack, right?
Yep.
He achieved it. He took a risk. He was entrepreneurial in doing that. And he wasn't like being afraid. And then he shared it with you. And it arguably changed your life. True or
Oh,
false?
1,000%.
Okay.
Dude.
So that one moment, that one instance could not have occurred if he wasn't doing all the things that we just talked about. True or false?
100% true.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like to me today, I have to continuously remind myself that I will help somebody somehow, some way, and maybe not even know about it.
Yeah.
And that ripple effect, right? Now let's say you said you did 500 deals you underwrote.
At least, yeah.
Okay. And you're 28. By 38, how many deals do you think you'll underwrite?
Oh god. Oh my god. I don't
Okay.
even know.
How many people do you think will be impacted by that?
I hope a lot. Like,
Tens of thousands,
yeah.
maybe hundreds,
Yeah.
from one conversation from one guy in the military 6 years ago.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's very the butterfly effect is very interesting.
And it works in both directions.
Yep.
It works in both directions. And it goes back to that drill sergeant, drill instructor that you talked about, right? That could have a butterfly effect. That negativity could get passed down to more drill sergeants and more drill sergeants, and it goes that way. And I think as entrepreneurs and as humans, we have this responsibility where it's like, I get to choose what twin do I want to be? Do I want to repeat the negativity that was taught to me, or do I want to take it and alchemize it into something good and then create a platform and help other people through that ripple effect?
Dude,
Right?
I love it.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
dude. So, dude, I'm proud to know you, man. I'm glad, that we became friends, and I'm so pumped for your next decade or 5 years of journey, in any way I can help you, I can. Let's talk real quick to listeners about like yeah, how can we work with you? Who's your ideal client? Who are the people that should be reaching out to you? And talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, so there's two sides. So obviously ADU Geeks, they are, our design architecture firm, do everything from single ADUs up to 30 units, and all in Southern California. We are currently expanding, and they are, great for design, permitting, and helping through the process. I enjoy teaching people through development, through life optimization, through fitness and things like that. So I'd say my skill set is in real estate development specifically, from underwriting, determining scope, things like that. So I'm getting it rolled out, but I'll be able to help people in a more professional, manner for specific projects. If I'm getting to the point where I feel confident enough now, like in my knowledge base, helping other people, leverage their money appropriately, where I've kind of done most of my deals on my own or with partners that were kind of in the shit with me. Um, but really, I want to help people learn and educate them. So that's kind of what the platform is going to be for. And so the Builder Brian brand, I guess, the builderbrian.com, all those things, they're trying to figure out a way to just get what's in my brain out to other people. And I'm hoping that it helps people. So that's kind of right now. I'm sure I'll have more specific asks as we go. But yeah, I'm like, just people give me the feedback on what works, what doesn't work with the education, and we'll go from there. Yeah.
Awesome. And where can people find you? Where can,
Yeah. So Instagram is probably where I'm the most active right now. So the Builder Brian on Instagram, the Builder Brian on YouTube, and the builderbrian.com, all coming soon. They all currently exist. And then I'm actually working on a podcast called The Blueprint, trying to teach people the exact, like, more tangible step by steps, the simplicity of things, for life optimization, for health and fitness, and for specifically real estate business.
Love that.
So yeah.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I know we're kind of wrapping up. I know the sun is kind of getting us. You good for a couple more minutes to
Yeah.
talk maybe a little more granular ADU stuff before we wrap?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I want to ask you this question. If it was like the unicorn deal, knowing everything you know today, what would you recommend for somebody if they wanted to get started? What would you look for, right? If you had a blank check, you're not a blank check, but a
Mm.
couple hundred grand, what would you look for as far as zoning, as far as lending, cost segregation, cash out refis? Give us like the unicorn deal.
Yeah, so it's hilarious because most people, when they hear that question, they think like RM 25, RM 37, RM 39, which is like residential multifamily, and then really dense zoning
Hmm.
that's alley access in like North Park, and it's perfect 7,000 square foot lot. I hate those.
Okay.
I hate them. I
Okay.
think they're overbuilt. I think that they are not sexy. What I like is single family houses distressed
Okay.
that I can renovate the house and then either convert a garage and build units in the back, or add anywhere between 2 to 6 units. I would say absolutely max
Okay.
in single family home neighborhoods, not these super dense areas.
Hmm.
And the reason why is because when you're in these single family home neighborhoods, the cash flow is not going to be as pretty on paper. When you're in North Park and you see I can do 30 units, 40 units, it looks really good on paper. All the cash flow, all of the, they underwrite at 3% vacancy, which is not a real thing. No turnover costs whatsoever. And so it looks really sexy on paper. But when they get into actual management, I'm kind of seeing through the process that vacancy is way higher, turnover is way higher, management expenses, it's operationally way more intensive.
Mm.
Rather, I would have a 4 unit at the end of the day, is kind of like the max that I really want to go right now. A 4 unit property
Okay.
in a nice single family home neighborhood, because by building a little bit smaller units, which is generally what ADUs tend to make sense as, in these neighborhoods that only have these large 3, 4, 5 bedroom houses,
Hmm.
you've now monopolized a product that people want, and you will have as probably about as close to 0% vacancy as somebody can get.
Mm.
No management, very low management headache, because you're going to get quality tenants, because you're going to have your pick of the litter, and all of a sudden you have a golden asset that is still based on comps, so it's less reflective of where interest rates are at,
Mm.
to an extent. So those, I would argue, are going to be the golden assets in 5, 10 years, because you can still include no parking, and the street has all the street parking possible, because everyone has off street, because it's all single family homes, and it's not really going to be like that dense in 10, 15 years, where North Park is like, you're going to be lucky if you find dirt by
Mm.
the time it's done. And so for me, that's the golden goose is like an undervalued, distressed single family that I can add 3 units to.
Love that. And I know boutique hotels are all the rage right
Mhm.
now, and I'm a huge fan as well of them. But the force appreciation aspect of it is what is so attractive to
Mhm.
me. How does that work with these ADUs? Like, are you able to force appreciation in the sense that it can be looked at differently, or is it still this is residential? And
Well,
talk to me about that.
it's still residential if
Yeah.
you keep it 1 to 4. If you
Okay.
go 5 or more, it will
Okay.
get looked at based on cap rate and expense ratios and
Really?
stuff.
And
Correct.
NOI?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So
And
so
if we did Airbnb on some of them and midterm rentals on the ADUs, you could
mhm.
then even add more cash flow that way and make it even more valuable.
You could. The issue is ADUs can't be rented out for a
The
period of less
ADUs would
than
be
30 days.
mid term
They would
rental.
be medium terms,
Yeah.
exactly.
And then the
So
single family would be the primary residence would be the
correct, and you
Airbnb.
could Airbnb that. And
Yeah.
so yes, you could. And the term force appreciation, like you are doing by building something,
Right.
you're
You're
forcing
adding that
appreciation.
100%. Yeah. You
Yeah,
build 4 units on a one, you're
yeah,
already
exactly. You force
300 to 700 earlier, right? Yeah.
exactly the
Yeah.
math
Yeah. Yeah.
maths.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so I think that it's one of those things where like it to me, like you will absolutely force appreciation. It's just the value is not based on increasing rents. It's just based
Mm.
on comps in the area, really and truly. Like which it's still I've underwritten enough deals to kind of see that all things equal, expense ratios and rents and everything like that, whether it's 4 units, if it's a 1 to 4 unit, so probably about 4 units or so, it's going to be about a 4 to a 4.5 cap.
Mhm.
All other things equal, just to find a way to give the value.
Mhm.
Where the same property, if it was 5 units, would be at like a 5.5 cap.
Got it.
And
Wow.
so
It's pretty good.
and so yeah, that's just like the way to kind of like look at the difference, and that's also why it doesn't cash flow as well because it doesn't have as many units,
Mhm.
but the value is significantly higher per unit and per square
Mm.
foot
Mhm.
because the effective cap rate drops.
Dude.
And obviously, it's not based on cap rate, so
Right.
hopefully this doesn't confuse people too
Right,
much.
right,
But yeah,
right.
it's a
Cool
higher
cap, I
value.
guess. Yeah.
So that's actually why if you have the option to go 4 or 5 units, all day go 4.
Interesting.
But until you can get to like 8 units or so, that spread between like 5 and 7, I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole as much
Wow.
as possible.
Okay.
So
Well, maybe we'll find one this year.
yeah,
Well, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure. Do you have anything else you want to say in closing or questions to ask or
no, dude,
statements for our
thanks for
listeners?
having me. I hope that somebody got some value out of it. You were dropping some bombs, man. So
Uh-oh.
I'm very grateful to be here and excited to continue working with you.
Likewise. Well, guys, thanks so much for listening. Check us out, The Alchemists with Evan Rundle, and reach out to my friend Brian here for all things ADUs. Is it just SD or do you work other areas? Or
Southern California, I'm development is relatively similar almost anywhere you go, so I can help people at least get in the right direction. I would say in a lot of different cases. So.
okay. Thanks for listening, guys. See you next time.